Hey guys, good early morning to every single one of you. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. I hope you're all having a fantastic early morning to this Friday morning on Friday the 29th of December 2023. I hope you're all looking forward to the day. I hope you're all looking forward to the end of this week. I hope you're all looking forward to the weekend. I hope you're all looking forward to New Year's Eve. And I hope you're all looking forward to New Year's Day in 2024, which is now only 3 days away. First of all, do a massive favour for me. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and remember to put the notification bell on at all times to receive dedicated content in these last 3 days in 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for Fortnite, Fall Guys, F1 23, Rocket League Season 13, more previews, more match reactions, and much more brand new stuff planned for these last 3 days in 2023. Good early morning to every single one of you, and welcome to your Premier League preview between Nottingham Forest and Manchester United for Saturday's evening game on match day 20 of the 23-24 Premier League season, which is another massive game for Manchester United after the historic and eventful comeback against Aston Villa on Tuesday evening, which was an absolutely huge result for Manchester United and a huge 3 points to try and chase down the top 4 and try and secure Champions League football again for next season. And I think, again, Nottingham Forest is going to be a very tough game for Manchester United, after which was a very surprising result at St James's Park, where Nottingham Forest under Nuno Espirito Santo have clearly had the new manager bounce, which is going to be a big problem for any Manchester United side that are coming up, a team with a brand new manager in charge. And clearly, Nuno Espirito Santo has hit the ground running at Nottingham Forest. Obviously, lost the first game at home to Bournemouth at the City Ground, and on Wednesday, beat Newcastle 3-1 away at St James's Park, which was an unlikely result for Nottingham Forest, where I think everyone expected Newcastle to win, get the 3 points, get another win towards Champions League football, and try and keep their top 10 place in the Premier League table currently campaigned win. It's a very big game for Manchester United, because if Manchester United were to win and to get another huge 3 points, Manchester United are one step closer to chasing down top 4, chasing down Manchester City, chasing down Tottenham and West Ham, who have obviously claimed huge results in these last few days, with West Ham beating Arsenal 2-0 at the Emirates, Spurs obviously getting bantered by Brighton, and Man City obviously coming from behind to beat Everton at Goodison Park. And I would expect Manchester United to win this game after, the comeback against Villa, where, you're 2-0 down in 26 minutes and no one expected Manchester United to come back and win. No one expected, Manchester United to come back and win 3-2. Like, no one expected Manchester United to come back and win. And I think, at the moment, Manchester United, will that Aston Villa result inspire them to go on a long unbeaten run for the rest of this Premier League campaign? Only time will tell if the mood and the morale is up with this squad, because, like I said, Aston Villa gave us a really big test Tuesday. And obviously, like I said, when you are 2-0 down inside 26 minutes and Aston Villa bottle it, which was a very unlucky result for Villa when they were dominating the first half at Old Trafford, dominating the game, dominating possession, dominating the ball, dominating Old Trafford and ripping us apart in every shape and square of the Old Trafford pitch. Again, away to Nottingham Forest, I would expect Manchester United to have a very comfortable evening at the City Ground. But with this result against Newcastle at St James's Park, this is going to inspire Nottingham Forest to try and somehow overcome the mighty Manchester United. Obviously, last season, we beat them 2-0 away from home, thanks to goals from Delo and Anthony, which obviously helped us secure top 4 and get back in the UEFA Champions League, which we were in this season, which we are now knocked out of, after being one season back in the Champions League. I think now Manchester United need to take this momentum they've got from the Villa result and take it to Nottingham Forest and try and somehow keep a clean sheet, somehow go and dominate the game. Obviously, Nuno Espirito Santo is out of a lot of first-team players in Sergio Aurier, Sangari. Nottingham Forest do have a lot of injury problems themselves. Obviously, that is no excuse because Manchester United have got the injury problems of their own. And obviously, you can't really use that as an excuse not to be playing good football and getting away with bad results on and off the pitch. Manchester United got a huge job to turn this season around. We all know it is going to take an almighty turnaround to get back into the Champions League and get top four again. But I think, that Aston Villa result, I still don't know where it came from. I still don't know how we won. But the quality of the goals we scored and obviously the vibe and the atmosphere inside Old Trafford from the fans at the end of the game, I'm hoping the players are going to take that inspiration, take that into the Forest game and somehow come away with another 3 points, because if we were to win at the weekend, we go above West Ham, potentially close in on Spurs, and then potentially also go within 3 points of Manchester City, which if someone would have said that to me at the start of the season, I probably wouldn't have believed you, because I think at the moment, the way the Premier League is looking, if you look at that top 7 and you look at that top 8 and that top 10, anyone's in this. Anyone is in there for European football. Any of those top 10 clubs have got a huge, huge opportunity to make history for the club, the fans and supporters. And Manchester United can put a lot of wrongs right by turning this season around with players coming back through injury, obviously getting that last gasp winner through Rasmus Højlund. Hopefully that will inspire him to find the back of the net a bit more. And hopefully that comeback will inspire Manchester United to somehow turn this Premier League season around, which, like I said, has been massively up and down all season. It's not been great. It's not been fantastic. The football has not been very, very good. And unfortunately, we're in the position we find ourselves in today. If the Premier League season was to stop now, we would qualify for the Europa Conference League. Not one Manchester United fan wants that outcome. I don't want to be in the Europa Conference League. I don't want to be in the Europa League. I want to be in the Champions League again. But I've got to look at what is best for this club, what is best for the fans, and what is best for support. We have to get to the best we can be. We have to keep this momentum up from the Villa result, and we have to take that into Saturday. I think if United were to go a goal down again, or maybe another 2 goals down again, we would have to produce what we produced against Villa. And can Manchester United do that in back-to-back Premier League games? Only time will tell what the morale and the whole confidence of that squad is. Will that squad be inspired like they were to find that result? Because when you have a goal ruled out through VAR, through the first Garnacho goal against Villa, which is clearly not offside, and then the second Garnacho goal, which was onside through a lovely Rashford assist, and then Garnacho again to find another goal with his left foot, which is obviously not his weaker foot, to get the equaliser. And then for Rasmus Højlund to find the winner in his first Premier League goal all season in 19 Premier League games. I'm hoping that can now inspire Rasmus Højlund to be able to put the ball in the back of the net a little bit more. I'm hoping now we are going to see the true Rasmus Højlund come out in the Manchester United shirt. I'm really hoping that goal is going to do him a lot of confidence, because at the moment, for me, if I'm looking at it from a bigger point of view, for me, Manchester United are being carried by the youngsters. For me, there's not enough leadership in that team. There's not enough of morale. There's not much of a leader in that team. There's no sign of a captain. And at the minute, I think the younger players are trying to pull this ageing squad through it. I really, really think Manchester United have done this all bloody season. We have relied on the youngsters. We have relied on their age, their mentality, and their age and the ability they've got at such a young age, when you've got players like Rashford, Bruno, Eriksen, Casemiro, Varane, getting to that age now where they're going to start peaking. And what I mean by that is time will tell how long they've got at the top of their game. Only time will tell how much long they've got left. And at the moment, the way I'm looking at it, and my mate made a great point to me the other day, if you're looking at it from the bigger point of view, look who our 2 best standout players were on against Villa, Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund. For me, Manchester United need to build round those 2 players. For me, there are 2 best attacking players in this first team squad. They're currently on form, our 2 best players. And I think for me, at a bigger point of view, we need to build a team around them that can work and connect with those 2 youngsters to take Manchester United further and further down the line of future younger success. I think we've been way too reliant on Rashford and Bruno and Varane and Casemiro and Eriksen. We've been taking for granted what they've done for last season, which clearly was a complete jinx, a complete myth of the season, and quite a lucky season for Manchester United to do what they did. And I think for me now, after what I saw against Villa, let's be really, really honest, Højlund and Garnacho have to be guaranteed first-team starters in the team sheet, not on the bench, in that starting lineup every single game now for Manchester United, because those two players are pivotal to Manchester United's attack going forward. Those two players are our best goal scoring hope. At the moment, you're looking at it, where are the rest of the goals coming from? The only goals we're finding are through Garnacho and Højlund. They're the only two youngsters and two best players we've got currently in this first team squad. And clearly now, we're starting to see Garnacho and Højlund connect up front. We saw a lot of that chemistry on Tuesday. We saw a lot of that build-up play between the pair of them. And we're seeing a lot more fresher, attacking, younger football under two youngsters that are trying to give their all for this club, who want to play, who want to be the best around, and basically want to guide this team back to where it should be, which is top of the Premier League. We need to keep these two players progressing in this Premier League team, because they've got a lot more going forward than what we've got going forward at the moment. Manchester United have not got the options available. Manchester United are very, very inconsistent, with several big players not producing on the pitch, and half of them who have thrown their toys out the pram, like Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, who has scored one goal in nearly 28 to 29 games, and Anthony, who's had his problems on and off the pitch, hasn't really produced what we thought he would do since he signed from Ajax. 85 million, looks like we've been robbed, we've been scammed, and 85 million has gone on a B-Tech winger who is no better than Rashford, Pellistri, Jadon Sancho, and basically the only youngster I think we've got on that right wing going forward, and hopefully now he will become available very, very soon, will be Amad Diallo. I think for me, I'm looking at the rest of the season and I'm looking about what players are good enough and should be playing for this club. Long term, this squad does need a rebuild. The squad does need a lot of optimism. We need a lot more confidence on the ball, and we need a lot more younger players leading this club back to glory. We need to be winning consistently. We need to be playing good, attractive, young, attacking football through youngsters that are trying to prove this is what we're about. This is what we're trying to do. And against teams like Nottingham Forest, who have got an ageing back four, an ageing midfield, and quite an ageing attack, Manchester United need to take full versatile and need to be absolutely on and off the ball at every single moment of the game. That Nottingham Forest, when he gets Newcastle, is going to do that world of good to that Nottingham Forest squad. No one expected them to beat Newcastle 3-1. Anyone would have expected Newcastle to be a complete home banker of the win. Newcastle under Eddie Howe in their last 7 games have been absolutely shit. All of a sudden, the problems at Newcastle are causing Newcastle's downfall under Eddie Howe. They get knocked out the Champions League, and in the last 7 games, Newcastle have failed to win. That is due to the pure fact, ever since they beat Manchester United at St James's Park at home, all of a sudden, Newcastle have dropped off a cliff. That is down to the problems and the style of play Eddie Howe is trying to produce at Newcastle. And Nottingham Forest have obviously had a clear new manager bounce. Nuno Espirito Santo is doing something Steve Cooper didn't. Obviously, I wasn't behind Steve Cooper getting sacked by Forest. I think Forest made a massive, massive mistake letting Steve Cooper go. And I think, this win against Newcastle, it is going to do Nottingham Forest a world of good. It is going to put that squad right up for the game against Manchester United, especially when you've got a former Newcastle player in Chris Wood. I mean, Chris Wood. You're talking about Chris Wood. Wood. I want some Wood. Like, at the end of the day, Chris Wood goes back to haunt Newcastle and scores a hat-trick. Chris Wood has been in and out that Nottingham Forest team quite a lot. That, again, is down to the injuries of some of the Nottingham Forest forwards, but it's down to the versatile and the strength that Chris Wood offers up front to Newcastle. He absolutely tormented that Newcastle back four that had obviously a major injury crisis and still has got one going on. Clearly, the Champions League football and the run Newcastle have been on has got to the injuries and the players they've had out. And clearly, Nottingham Forest took full advantage of the crisis that Newcastle are in, because defeat, and you keep dropping points, the morale and the confidence in that Newcastle squad is going to get dented, and then all the players are going to start dropping off a cliff, and all of a sudden, they'll then start turning on Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe has done a fantastic job at Newcastle. I am not taking anything away from him. But now, all of a sudden, Season 2, and Eddie Howe is now finding out that problems are now being caused by Newcastle's apparently star players that are now letting the side down and not producing the football we saw from Newcastle weeks ago. They've lost to teams like Bournemouth. They've lost to teams like Nottingham Forest. Newcastle should be beating them. And obviously Nottingham Forest absolutely ripped them apart at St James's Park. I could not believe how great Nottingham Forest were. their front line now is fully attacking lineup. Like, I've never seen the Nottingham Forest team produce so many opportunities away at a tough place like St James's Park. You try and go there and win with a Manchester United or a Chelsea or a Spurs or an Arsenal or even a Man City. Newcastle always find to pull the rabbit out of the hat and produce results against the bigger and better teams. But against teams like Nottingham Forest, they were found out. On the counter-attack, Newcastle could not cope against Nottingham Forest's younger striking lineup. Like, you look at that Nottingham Forest team now, you've got Alanga, all of a sudden, looks like an absolutely great player. Like, what a purchase Nottingham Forest have done when they brought him from, obviously, us in Manchester United. Alanga was never going to make it at Manchester United. Alanga was never, ever going to be good enough. Alanga would never be the player everybody thought he was going to be. Let's be honest about it. We saw that under Ragnick and Solskjaer, and we found out under Erik ten Hag in season 1 that Alanga clearly was not good enough. And we all knew he was not going to make it at Manchester United. He was not getting enough game time, which was deserved. He was teacher's pet FC. But because Nottingham Forest style of play suits him, Nottingham Forest are now getting the best out of Anthony Alanga. I wish we saw that Alanga at Manchester United. I really, really hope we did. But I knew he wasn't good enough because he can't hit the level of playing consistently week in, week out in a Manchester United shirt. But he's gone to Forest and he's been complete generational player now. I think Anthony Alanga has obviously got the game and got the ability to be able to take Nottingham Forest further and further up the pecking order. I think Alanga now, if he can keep producing what he's producing, he's going to become a very, very good player in the future. And I think a lot of big top clubs will start looking at him again. And obviously, idiotically, Manchester United have obviously put in a buyback clause in the contract. I don't think Alanga will make it back at Manchester United. Alanga will never, ever get back at the club because he isn't good enough. But Nottingham Forest is about his level, and you saw the amount of opportunities and the amount of problems he was causing that ageing Newcastle back four through Lascelles, like Fabian Schär in and out the Newcastle team through injury. And then you see Newcastle bring all these young youngsters through to the first team lineup. And obviously, they haven't got the Premier League experience or the Premier League quality to be able to take on that type of versatility that Nottingham Forest have been actually producing. And all of a sudden now, at Nottingham Forest, Nuno Espirito has been there 2 games, and all of a sudden things are clicking. Like, fair play to them beating Newcastle. Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, they're completely on different levels. I'd have expected Newcastle to win with the players they had available. But at the moment, you're looking at it, are Nottingham Forest going to be a danger for Manchester United? I think they're going to be. Like, Chris Wood scoring a hat-trick is going to be a massive constant boost to his goal-scoring problems. Alanga is going to look like to prove a point to the Man United fans, supporters, the club, Ten Hag, the owners, the board. He's going to want to prove a point that he should still be at the club. Obviously, I don't, because I've never rated the guy, but now he's at Nottingham Forest. Look what he's doing. He's ripping up the Premier League. He's producing something Nottingham Forest have been missing out on all season long. And I think that was the problem under Steve Cooper. He was relying on all the brand new players he brought in. I mean, Nottingham Forest brought in 2 brand new lineups. They brought in 22 players when they first got promoted back to the Premier League. They brought in 22 brand new players. Well, obviously, Steve Cooper obviously hoped he could gel into a team. And obviously, I still can't justify why Steve Cooper's been sacked. I can't justify why he was shown the door by the Nottingham Forest owners. But those owners own the Greek club Olympiacos. And look how, inconsistent Olympiacos have been, not just in Europa League, but in the Greek league. You look at both forms and both competitions. Nottingham Forest owners own Olympiacos. Like, I'm hoping that, I want Nottingham Forest to be in the Prem. They deserve to be where they are. They are battling relegation. I don't think you're going to go down. I think you'll be comfortably fine under Nuno. But I think it's a big test for what Nuno's going to do, because you saw a lot of that Newcastle play was breaking Newcastle on the counter-attack, and Forest would damage them. Certain players were making the right runs at the right time, and that was timing of the offside line. Like, Chris Wood was making runs off the ball that no one else could spot, and so was Alanga. Like, the amount of opportunities that team have made Nottingham Forest into a very, very good attacking, versatile team that are going to cause problems now. I think Nuno is going to do a very good job. But if it was to be a defeat for Nottingham Forest, you're going to look at it 3 games in. He's won 1, and then lost 2. Is that really good for Nottingham Forest? Quite a big club that they are. They have won the UEFA Champions League. They are champions of Europe. They've won it twice. So Nottingham Forest ain't going to be no pushover. And Manchester United are going to find this is going to be tough because also, if you look at that Nottingham Forest midfield, we're going to look at it now. Morgan Gibbs-White, I mean, what a bloody player he is. Like, I can't believe we did not look at a younger and versatile player like Morgan Gibbs-White from Wolves. I mean, who used to play under Nuno Espirito Santo when he was the Wolves manager. So clearly there's been something there with, buying Wolves players and putting them into the Nottingham Forest team. And now you're looking at it and it's like, was that pre-planned? Let's get Steve Cooper to get us promoted to the Prem. Season 1 will stay up comfortably. Season 2, we're now battling with Everton, Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United, and maybe Crystal Palace. Because I think for me, they are the 6 clubs really realistically in this relegation battle. I can't see Wolves, Chelsea, Bournemouth getting involved with this, or even Brentford to an extent. And maybe sacking Steve Cooper is going to be a good thing for Nottingham Forest, but if I was a Nottingham Forest fan, and if they were to lose Saturday, which I think they're going to, I think we will win that game at the City Ground for Manchester United's sake. I really hope we do. But I think, maybe the Morgan Gibbs-White transfer to Nottingham Forest was planned. Like, let's get rid of Nuno. Let's bring Lopetegui in at Wolves. That ain't going to work. He'll be gone after 2 seasons. And then all of a sudden, Morgan Gibbs-White gets sold to Nottingham Forest. Nuno goes to Spurs, gets sacked by Spurs, goes to manage Saudi Arabia, managing Kante and Benzema, gets sacked there. Nottingham Forest get in a relegation fight, sack Steve Cooper, bring in Nuno. Maybe this has all been connected. Maybe all this has been pre-planned. But I look at the quality Morgan Gibbs-White is. Like, for me, needs to be an England team. Quality, young, hungry, young player who is running rings round certain oppositions in that Nottingham Forest midfield. I can't believe how good of a player that Morgan Gibbs-White actually is. And I've always rated the guy. When he was at Wolves, he was absolutely ripping up trees against the opposition defences of other Premier League teams who were in the league last season. And now all of a sudden, you're now getting the best out of these players. And Nuno clearly has had an effect on that Nottingham Forest squad straight away. And that Newcastle win is going to give them a hell of a lot of confidence. And for Manchester United's sake, I hope we're not going to see what we saw in the first half against Villa. I'm dreading that we go 1 or 2-0 down again and we have to repeat the comeback because the amount of goals we're conceding is now becoming a real fucking issue. Like, you look at that back four, you look at the goalkeeper. For me, at the moment, I look everywhere in that team. I still see problem after problem after problem after problem. Clearly, Onana is not good enough. That back four is weak. The midfield is in a crisis. And as for that front three, it is very inconsistent. We can't keep relying on the youngsters to keep doing all the work and dragging United back because all of a sudden, the more times and the more game time that these youngsters get, Hoyle and Garnacho will keep picking up these injuries and the inconsistency will keep repeating itself and the goals will dry up. And then all of a sudden, we then got questions to ask of them. What's going to happen going forward? The problem is at Manchester United, we haven't got a team that's united. We haven't got a team that is there for the manager or is behind the manager. I still think these players are getting away with way too many excuses and way too much bullshit for my liking. And I think against Villa, I think for me, it was a very lucky result that, the ball rebounded off John McGinn in the Aston Villa penalty area in the second half. United get a corner, ball bounces off John McGinn and it falls nicely to Rasmus Højlund on his left foot and puts it in off the volley. Very lucky it went in off the post because if that goal doesn't go in and he skies it or he misses it by a sitter, you're going to think to yourself, more points dropped, not good enough football, players are dropping off again, players are down tooling. And I don't want to see that. I want to see this team go on a run. I want to see these players do something that I've not seen in years, which is go on a run that makes me think that you are turning your season around because at the moment, I still think, in my view and in my opinion, Manchester United have got way too many problems to deal with off and on the pitch. I think, Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in, working with the Glazers, getting into bed with them and buying a minority stake for 25% of the club, for 25% of the shares, and is basically asking the fans to be patient, please be patient. I mean, we're not a Take That song, and you're asking us yet again to be patient as anything. Like, we've seen nearly 19 years of bad ownership from clueless owners that don't give a shit about the club, who have bled the club dry, put us into severe debt, recruitment off and on the pitch is a joke. Players we let go we should have kept. Players we brought in have not been good enough, and we have sacked manager after manager after manager after manager. And people still think that's okay to keep sacking the manager and just keep bringing in interim and then get a new manager again. Sacking Ten Hag is not the answer for this club, but his tactics are now getting questionable. His selection is getting questionable. For me, there is still a lot of bloody favouritism in that team due to the price tag that this club paid for these players. And I think that's got to stop. Players like Maguire, McTominay, Lindelof, Shaw, Delot, Wan-Bissaka, Onana, Mason Mount, Rashford, Martial, Sancho, Anthony. I don't think that United team's good enough. Not of those players I just mentioned. If you take all those players out of this team, Man United would be defensively better. Without Varane and Martinez, we're a joke in defence. Onana was meant to be this world-class goalkeeper, has nearly let in 50 goals this season in all competitions, which is abysmal for a £60 million goalkeeper that apparently was great for Inter Milan in the last season Champions League final, but still lost to Man City for a superb Rodri strike. And people thought he's going to turn things around. I fell for that, and I hold my hand up. I fell into that trap thinking, you know what? The mistakes that David Gea cost United last season could have cost us severe this season. But now I'm thinking to myself, I look at the goals Onana's conceding and the way he's not keeping the ball out of the net. He's got to be brought into question. What the fuck did we pay 60 million for this goalkeeper? Because it's not clearly worked. It's not going to get Manchester United keeping clean sheets consistently. And we're going to concede a lot more goals. But the problem is, I don't think Onana is the only problem. We can't concede the goals we did again Tuesday because United have got to do it all over again. We've got to come from behind. We've got to go and score the first goal and then build on the lead. That is what we're not doing. If we get the first goal, you need to build on it. Go and get the second, go and get the third, and maybe get a fourth and kill the game off. But don't take your eye off the focus of what you're trying to do, is win games consistently in the league, because the Premier League is the only competition really I think United have got to qualify from Europe in, because we're not in the Champions League. We didn't defend the Carabao Cup. And as for the FA Cup, we're going to have to hope we go in and win that. We're going to have to hope to God we can win that competition, because otherwise we're going to be back in this situation at the end of the season where we're back in the Europa League. I don't want that. I do not want that. But do I trust these players to go on a run? I don't. No, I'm sorry. No. 2023 has been shit for a Man United fan. You've gone out of two competitions and you've basically got the Premier League and the FA Cup left to try and turn it around. If we would have stayed in the Champions League and we would have won the Carabao Cup again, things might have started looking a little bit more up. But it's not been good enough. The levels of that team have dropped off a cliff since last season. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I would love to know. Again, from my sources, I'm connected with the club. I would love to know what the fuck's going on, because I'm not happy. We're scraping by with results again, and we are lucky we got anything against Villa. Because if that game ends in a point, there's going to be people thinking, well, at least we didn't lose. At least we got a point. I'm really sorry. What do we want to go back to? The win, lose, or draw mentality? Is that what we're going to do every week? Because if you're going to do that, get out the club, because United need to win every game. That is what you're aiming to be at Manchester United, is to win every fucking game you play in. And these players have not shown it this season. I've been massively let down by the players. I'm frustrated what's going on. And off the pitch, I am not happy. So Jim Ratcliffe comes in and he's telling us all to be patient. Well, if he's telling us to be patient, you better be spending some money in January and again next summer, because you better be getting the players the manager wants and getting rid of the players he doesn't want. Because apparently now, if Jadon Sancho wouldn't have been doing what he's been doing, throwing his little toys out the pram, acting like a spoiled little baby and a 5-year-old kid, my nephew can behave better than him and can actually produce special moments, right? My nephew has got more commitment than Jadon Sancho. If Sancho was available, he should be in the team. But at the moment, clearly, he thinks he's bigger than the club. bigger than the manager. And apparently we can't sell Sancho in January because apparently we can't really sell him because no one wants to give us the money we want. The wages he wants going to cause a problem for the club that they want to sign him. Whoop-de-fucking do. That's your problem at Manchester United. There is not enough consistency and there's not enough leadership and there's not enough morale behind the scenes that can convince me United will turn this Premier League season around. We've got to beat Nottingham Forest, by the way. I think we can beat Nottingham Forest, but I just worry about some of the Premier League performance I've seen this month because if we were to fail to win, then Chelsea could close in on us. Brighton will leapfrog us. West Ham are now above us. So are Spurs. I think for me, we are challenging. We're not going to get top four. We're not going to finish above Man City or Arsenal or Liverpool or Villa. I think our battle is with Tottenham, West Ham and Brighton. I really think that's where the battle's going to be. If we get top four, great, fantastic. We've turned this season around. But I've seen too many points dropped. I've seen too many VAR decisions that have been a joke. Like, clubs have been out there to get United. VAR and the referees this season have cost United dearly due to bad refereeing, VAR being a complete circus that it is, and decisions have clearly not gone the bigger club's way, which has really frustrated me. And like I said about the first team, would I be playing Onana and Johnny Evans next to Varane? Would I be playing Dalot back in the team after he returns from suspension? Would I be playing Wan-Bissaka? I mean, with the training pictures today, Luke Shaw wasn't spotted back in training. So clearly, like I said, you gave this guy a brand new 5-year contract and apparently he's Roberto Carlos. Clearly he fucking isn't, because if he was, he'd be fit and hungry to play. Has picked up yet another injury that is going to keep Luke Shaw on the sidelines. And they gave that guy a brand new contract for 5 years till 2028. And he's injured. So what worries me is we'll pick the same back four against Villa for Forest. It'll be Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Evans and Dalot. I mean, what's Reguilon done since being out of the team? Like, what the fuck's he done to not be in the team? Like, let's talk about it. Like, what's Reguilon done not to be playing consistently at left back for United, who's been an absolute breath of fresh air since we signed him from Spurs on loan in the summer transfer window in August and in September. But all of a sudden now is don't really rate him. It doesn't really matter. We can send him back in January. They ain't going to be able to send him back in January when clearly we are going to have to sign him permanently due to the pure fact that we've got no Luke Shaw. Malacia looks like that this season's gone. He ain't going to come back from injury. Not a bloody chance Malacia will be back. And what a bad signing that's been. Another on the club. Clearly, I don't think Ten Hag wanted Malacia. I clearly don't think he wanted him. That's what I think. And now, has a point been proved that I've been right again? And then you've got no Luke Shaw, and all you've got is Reguilon. So, I think Reguilon, for me, has to play Saturday because clearly Dalot ain't no left back. I don't know why Ten Hag thinks Dalot's a left back when he's clearly a right back. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, I don't really rate Reguilon now. I mean, what are we trying to do at Manchester United? Are we trying to play players that position and hope they can adapt into that position in the team's future? Or clearly, is it we are picking players over price tags? Is Dalot in that team because of the price tag that Mourinho paid for him when he was in charge? Another big talking point. And you know, Mourinho said about Luke Shaw, lazy. Martial, lazy. And both of those players are still a big problem at this club. And players like Reguilon, who put commitment and trust into the squad and the players, are now no longer in this team. And unfortunately, Reguilon has been hung out to dry by the manager. Or is it the owners and the board because they don't rate Reguilon? So whatever happens now, I think Reguilon has got to come back into the team because we ain't got no Maguire. Maguire is still injured. Victor Lindelof's out for a month. So we've got no Lindelof. So you're going to see Evans and Varane again, unfortunately. And then at left back, well, right back, I mean, Wan-Bissaka. I mean, again, another player that ain't bloody good enough. So I don't know what we're going to do about this back four, but clearly it does need improving. And I said this under Mourinho, Van Gaal, Moyes, Solskjaer and Rangnick. They've never improved that back four. They've never improved it. We basically have Varane and Martinez, and that's it. Because Maguire's really improved Manchester United since he's been back in the first team. Has it? Fuck. He's injured again because he's crap. And people think, oh, he's improved since he's been taking the captaincy off him. He's been so great since Ten Hag's reintegrated him into the squad. Wake the fuck up and realise he's shit. Like, seriously, wake up. Because if you think Maguire's good, then my nan could be in Man United's back four. Like, seriously. We're a better team without him, and it's being proved at the moment. It is being massively, massively proved. As for Johnny Evans, how Manchester United hang the manager out to dry when the manager wanted a centre-back in the summer and Man United said no. Oh, here's Johnny Evans on a free. An ex-reject of the club who was sorry he was shit. And we was brought back because he was on a free. That really inspires me, doesn't it? I mean, what a load of bullshit. Like, for me, he shouldn't be playing. So another player I've got serious questions about. As for the midfield, we know what the midfield's going to be. Obviously, the pictures from training today, good indication that Amrabat's going to be back for Saturday. Obviously, Mount is also back in training. Rumours Casemiro might be back for the Nottingham Forest game on Saturday as well. That might be a major boost. If you've got Casemiro and Mount both available for Saturday, I'm sorry to say, for me, it's the end of Eriksen and it's the end of McTominay, because Mount and Casemiro will be better players for Manchester United going forward. I hope. I really hope they will. Mount, I've still got question marks over, because what has he done since he signed from Chelsea? 60 million down the drain, Mason Mount flops again. Or 60 million down the drain, Mason Mount's injured again. So that might be a boost if they're available. Might give some time off the bench if they're available to make the bench. But clearly, like, I see all these pundits on Talk Sport and Sky and BBC, Match of the Day, Sky Sports News, Gillette Soccer Saturday. The amount of praise McTominay gets, he's more invisible than trying to find rabbit shit in a pack of Maltesers. Like, let's be really honest. He goes more invisible than Harry Potter's invisibility cloak from the Philosopher's Stone, the first Harry Potter film. Like, let's be frank, he's crap. He only gets in that Scotland team because he's basically Scotland's best player, because the rest of them are shit. And we wonder why we're crap with a midfield. You wonder why United ain't got no midfield balance. You wonder why Manchester United have got nothing in that team to generate that midfield. Because McTominay can't defend, can't get forward with the ball, can't trap back, does all these stupid little rabbit pivot turns on and off the ball. He might as well be Bugs Bunny trying to run away from the guy that's trying to catch him. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think, again, Eriksen, like, apparently Eriksen was really the surprise package for the Villa game. I don't know what people were watching, but Eriksen hasn't been the same since he's been back. Like, I was a big fan. Eriksen's one of my favourite players at this club. But is that enough going forward for the future? For me, it's another blank. No. Massively no. This is not the answer. But he's better than some of the options we've got. And then Amrabat. Like, there's rumours we're not going to make his move permanent in the summer or in January, and we're going to send him back to Fiorentina. I don't know why we're doing that, by the way. I think Amrabat has been a breath of fresh air since he's come into that team. It absolutely does his job he's been told by Ten Hag to do. And, oh, no, we're not going to make the move permanent. He's not good enough to be in that United midfield. Why the fuck did we sign Amrabat? Well, let me think, because Fred was shit. McTominay's even worse. Eriksen and Mount pick up injuries more than a paper cut. Casemiro's age is catching up. And basically, Amrabat was absolutely world-class at the World Cup and also won the Europa Conference, lost the Europa Conference League final to West Ham, and he was the best player of the game. And apparently ain't good enough. Well, I would look at what some Man United midfielders have done at the moment. No versatile, no attacking threat, no control defensively on and off the ball. Don't trap back. Have got a lazy attitude. And, you know, that's what I think Amrabat should be in the team. I would bring Amrabat in if it was me and put Kobe Manu next to Fernandes a bit more further forward. That is what I would do in the midfield for Saturday. I put Manu back in that team. Because Manu in that team makes Manchester United so much better. Like, he's 18 years of age and looks so settled. Great performance against Liverpool, was fantastic against Newcastle, and Chelsea was dominating them. And against Villa, he did it again. Kobe Manu has got all the product of being a world-class superstar in the midfield. Put him next to Fernandes, he's only going to get better. Obviously, Fernandez has not been the same player recently. I don't know why that is. Maybe the leadership and the captain's armband is starting to get to him a little bit because he's not getting the decisions he wants as Manchester United's captain. So basically, at the moment, for me, Manu is probably the best option with Fernandez and Amrabat in the midfield three. Because I don't think Casemiro, Eriksen and Mount and Casemiro clearly won't be available, but I hope they might be on the bench. Eriksen, I don't think is the answer going forward. And there's a lot of players I would get rid of in the summer if I could, or even in January. I hope both those solutions happen. As for the attack, well, we've talked about Garnacho. We've talked about Højlund. I think the problem is Garnacho's better off the left. Højlund obviously down the middle. As for the right wing, United have got more problems there than Windows 11 or Windows 10. You get the consistent same error message coming up on the screen. Access denied, inconsistent, slow, lethargic, lazy, gutless, lack of attitude, lack of commitment, lack of desire. Rashford against Villa was dreadful. One decent assist all game, and people were getting so excited. Look at what Rashford's doing. Ripping that Villa back four apart, running beyond Konza and Longley and Digne and Alex Moreno. Look how great he was. Yeah, really great when he has scored one goal in nearly 29 games. Man United are a better team without Rashford, and I wish people would realise that we are. We are a better team without Rashford. For me, Rashford comes out that team on Saturday. Rashford no longer at Manchester United Football Club. If a Saudi Arabian club or a PSG or a bigger Premier League club, because we're not a big club anymore, if someone offered 200 million or 180 million, I would accept it in a heartbeat and go and get Mbappe or an Osman or try and somehow convince Harry Kane to come back to the Premier League and replace him. Because I think you would be better with Garnacho, Kane, Højlund, Ahmad, Anthony. You don't need Sancho, you don't need Rashford, and you don't need Pellistri. Keep Ahmad, send him on loan, bring him back the year after, put him in the team over Anthony, and Man United going forward will be deadly. That is what I would do, because Rashford is not good enough to be playing for Manchester United no longer. I'm sorry to tell you, time is up. I've seen it way too many times with many players before. Giving Marcus Rashford that number 10 shirt that the great iconic Wayne Rooney used to wear, who became Manchester United's all-time leading goal scorer. You go and give it to a player like Rashford, his career will go into a downward spiral. It will go into a deep nosedive like a 747 jumbo jet aeroplane. And that's what happened. Clearly, Rashford's either got an injury or he has got a problem with the manager, or clearly there is something deep lying with Rashford that's wrong that we're not knowing about. For me, he does not play Saturday. He is benched again. And for me, what I would do with the front three, balance it, get Garnacho back on that left, because clearly it did not work on the right. Garnacho is not a right winger. Højlund down the middle is our best option going forward, because Martial apparently is either ill or injured. More like he's been told he's going in January and he's going to have to like it or lump it. And for the right wing, I mean, it's obvious because Pellistri ain't going to get any game time. He's crap as well. Another one that is massively overhyped, massively overrated and isn't good enough. I don't know why we're sending him on loan. If a Bournemouth or a Leicester or a Luton came in for him, please just sell him permanently, because he's going to get more game time, creating more bigger opportunities for clubs like that. Because for me, or send him to a team like Bournemouth, who would be absolutely fantastic. I think the future for Pellistri is away from Manchester United. The future, what we need to keep with that right wing is Anthony and Ahmad. The rest of them ain't good enough. You get rid of Pellistri, Rashford and Sancho, Man United's front three would be a lot better and a lot more consistent in front of goal and would score a lot more opportunities for the chances we create. So my front three would be Anthony, it would be Garnacho, and it will be Højlund. But if Ahmad's available, do we put Ahmad back in Saturday? Another big talking point. That is my team. That is what I would do. Let me know what you would do, what team lineup you would go with. Want to give a quick shout out to BSFC for life, obviously Bristol City Football Club for life, new subscribers to the channel, new content provider on YouTube. Go and check out his channel. So it's BCFC for Life on YouTube. Go and check out his channel. Great content provider. Scoreline for Saturday, I'm going to go for 2 or 3-0 United. I think United will have too much for Forest, but let's see what happens. So I hope you enjoyed the preview. Hit that like button and the share button. Hit a subscribe button if you're new to this channel. United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video. Hit the tweet button. Hit the retweet button. And always remember to put that notification bell on as well, so you receive dedicated content in these last 3 days of 2023. We've got more Fortnite, F1 23, Rocket League Season 13, Fall Guys, EA Sports FC 24, Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 1 Underground, more previews and more match reactions. And then obviously it is a 5:30 evening away kickoff on Saturday evening. Join me for the final score and the match reactions straight after the full-time result at the City Ground, which hopefully is back-to-back Premier League wins. Hopefully we can end 2023 with a final Premier League win of this year. Hopefully it's another 3 points and maybe a step closer to getting back into the top 4 race, getting Champions League football again, and winning another Premier League game. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy these last few days in 2023. You've all been amazing this year. You're all legends. You're all legendary. Stay safe, be nice, and be kind to each other. And I'll see you on the next one.